Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Good morning. Welcome back for the weekend. Maybe some of you are off today, 4th of July tomorrow. Happy to be here. Welcome to the Stochastic.com MLB Strategy Show presented by Drafters. I'm Dave Loughlin at Loughy_D on the Twitters, joined by Adam Scherer at Ship My Money DFS, breaking down a little 6-game action today. And then tomorrow, just an entire day of baseball from 1 o'clock all the way through the night. So we'll be here for that as well. But first, we got to rip through a 6-gamer and dive into it. What's going on, dude?
Not much, man. Looking forward to another week of baseball. Had a good day yesterday, so always feels good to start the week off with a win.
Nice. What'd you finish second place in? Beaten Cheek said you had a second place finish.
Yeah, second in the big $15 on DraftKings.
Nice. 20?
Yeah, 20.
All right, so you're getting the mojo back, huh?
Yeah, hopefully. I think, I tweeted it, but not even exaggerating, I think it might be the first time I've ever actually benefited from extra innings or overtime.
Nice.
Like, I was in 14th with a Cleveland stack. They were up 6-2 going to the bottom of the ninth, so I'm like, all right, didn't quite get there. Cubs tie it up. I jumped to second in the top of the 10th. But, I think that's literally the first time it's ever – it's – from everything I can remember, it's always either, the buzzer beater goes in to avoid overtime when I need overtime, or it goes to extra innings and my guy's just
of course.
Of
course. Yeah. But it worked in your favor today.
Yeah,
Jordan, I'm pretty sure you had Adam select the wrong mic because he sounded way better before.
Lack of production talent around here is really getting frustrating.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm doing everyone else's job these days. I'm joking, Jordan. I'm joking. Jordan actually usually is the one guy to actually be like, hey, I think there's something wrong with it before I say it. But happy to have you guys with us. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so yet on this wonderful Monday morning. Subscribe to the channel and leave a comment down below if you're watching or listening after the fact. At the very least, we try and read all of them, respond to them as well. And one other thing, podcast. We have a podcast. All of this stuff goes to podcast form. If you find it easier to listen in podcast form, whether it's on iTunes, Spotify, whatever the hell they do on those Samsung phones, we got you covered, man. Head on over there. Listen to our pod each day. If it's easier than YouTube, leave a rating or review. That stuff goes a long way for us. Subscribe to the pod. But just so you know, it is there, and we got you covered on all fronts, on all platforms. All right, so we got 6 games today. We got ownership, top pitchers tool updated, top stacks tool updated. So we are officially in business. Brief overview of this slate. First things first, and I'm not sure if you've looked at anything yet, but Clayton Kershaw, he's still not listed as officially starting. And then yesterday, Dave Roberts said that he could be placed on the IR or on the injured list. So, I mean, I don't know. Some places still have him as probable, but he's not officially listed. And last time I looked, there wasn't a line on this game yet. So I think that's certainly something that we need to be aware of going into this show.
Yeah, so definitely keep an eye on Dodgers pitching. The page I usually use for projected lineups is not loading, so I'm trying to find them.
Yeah, my guess is he done. I don't know, dude. It would seem weird. Let me see if they got a lineup yet. Let me see if they got one up. Because when I did this run sheet, like even 45 minutes ago, there was nothing. No. See, we still have nothing for this game.
I mean, it seemed when you're talking about Clayton Kershaw, if there's a question like, oh, he might go on the injured list, it seems really unlikely he's going to pitch.
So I'm saying, and even if he doesn't go on the injury list, it seems unlikely that he actually starts today.
Right.
Like I'm saying, it might not go on the injured list, but maybe push him back a couple of days. If yesterday we're saying, yeah, he might go on the injured list.
Right. It seems like the question is probably, does he go on the injured list or does he just get
pushed back? Yeah, right. So we'll see. Anyway, worth keeping in mind here. Right now on the top pitcher tool, we have him listed. That's fine because I don't really know what we'd list otherwise. Like, I don't think we'd have any actual good idea of what pitcher would be starting in this game otherwise, whether it be a bullpen game or whatnot. But yeah, like I said, keep all of that in mind.
It's Grove if it's not Kershaw.
It's definitely Grove.
Grove will be recalled to start Monday against the Pirates if Clayton Kershaw is placed on the injured list.
Okay, perfect. I didn't think we'd have that information yet. Then there's no way Clayton Kershaw's starting this game.
You wouldn't think so. The only, I guess, question mark it's not even really Kershaw. It's if he doesn't go on the injured list, then they can't bring up Grove.
Right. So like if he gets pushed back a few days to heal
Right.
up,
If they're like, we're gonna wait 2 days and see how it goes, then it's somebody other than Grove. But if they put him on the injured list, they said it's Grove.
okay. Well, anyway, let's dive into this. We got 6 games to talk about today. All right. Gabriella, Ruddy, can we cover 2-game early slate if there's time? Maybe at the end, probably not. We have all the tools though. Everything updated for the early slate, ownership, top stacks, projections, top hitters tool, top pitchers tool, all of that stuff. So usually on these strategy shows, when it's a larger main slate with a much bigger prize pool, we don't cover the early slate. But let's talk about the Baltimore and the New York Yankees. Domingo Germán, man, you and I talked about him the other day. Kind of like, hey, this guy's an enigma. You never know what you're going to get from him. Goes out and hurls a perfect game. When was the last perfect game before this? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I mean, it couldn't have been Roy. It couldn't have been Doc, right?
It's probably some pitcher that you don't even remember.
Dallas Braden threw one on Mother's Day. I remember that.
I do remember that. So the most recent before Germán was Felix Hernandez, August 15th, 2012.
2012. Okay. And then who was before that? Was it Holiday or Braden?
So it was Matt Cain.
I don't even remember that one.
Yeah, I actually do, but it was Matt Cain in June of 2012, Philip Humber in April of 2012, Holiday May 2010, Braden 20 days before that.
Okay.
So May 2010.
Oh, and then the Burley one. I remember
Burley was before that. And then we're back to Randy Johnson in 2004.
Wow. And then David Cohn in 99.
Yeah, Cohn in 99, Wells in 98, back-to-back Yankees there.
There's like 4 or 5 year gaps in between a lot of these for sure.
Yeah, and then you got 3 in 2012.
Which is nuts. All right, here's the biggest gap. Catfish Hunter, 1968, then Len Barker, 1981, 13 years. Wow. That's pretty crazy, man. All right, so Domingo Germán. Wait, I just realized this right now. We're talking about 5 years. 11 years since the last one before Germán?
Yeah, that's insane. Also, wow. It's really depressing that 2012 was 11 years ago.
Damn, dude. 11 years, Felix Hernandez was the last one. 113 pitches, 12 Ks. Domingo Germán did it in 99 pitches with 9 Ks.
When was the Armando Galarraga non-perfect game?
Oh, man. That was
like 2011, 2012, 2013.
Yeah, that honestly should count as a perfect. I can't. I get it, but
yeah, June 2nd, 2010.
2010. So there would have been 3 that year.
Yeah, there would have been 3 that year and 3 in 2012.
Wow. And then nothing for over a decade.
Right. And there was one in 2009 too.
Wow. How about no hitters? What was the no hitter with oh God, who was it? Who was the no hitter with like 160 pitches? What was his name?
Jackson.
What?
Edwin Jackson,
and he walked like 9 or something. Yeah, no hitters are certain. There was a no hitter going the other day, and I forget who it was. It was in Milwaukee, and I look on. I'm just like on the MLB app because I was out doing stuff, and I look, and it says no hitter, but he's got the bases loaded with 1 out. Like, it's just not the same thing. It's cool. It's impressive, but they were down. I think they were already down 1-0, and it was a no hitter with the bases loaded. So, there have been no hitters where the team has lost.
Yeah. You walk guys, you make an error.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just gotta be like, does it even count at that point?
Right. There's one, I don't remember who, I mean, it's from like the 1900s or whatever, but like the guy threw like, I don't know, 12 or 13 no-hit innings and lost.
Yeah, when was that?
I mean, obviously, well before current times.
Like I remember that though. Anyway,
the dude that, if I remember right, the dude that threw it died when I was 4. So,
okay, so you weren't watching that game?
Nah, I missed it. He took a perfect game into the 13th inning on May 26th, 1959, retired 36 consecutive batters through 12 innings. But the other dude was also pitching a shutout. And then an error ended the perfect game, and he ended up losing.
Jeez, dude. That's horrible. Let's talk some baseball for today, though. We'll fast forward to 2023. Baltimore and the New York Yankees. So, yeah, now you have Domingo Germán. Do you think his ownership gets inflated as a result of that game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think that
because he's still really cheap.
Right, like he's still cheap, so he'd be getting ownership anyway. It's not like you're talking about some random terrible pitcher that's like 9K and has no business getting ownership. Like he's going to get it anyway, and I would guess, like there's obviously no way of checking it, but I would guess whatever his ownership number ends up being is higher than it would have been had he not just thrown a perfect game.
We got him at 13% right now. I obviously, if Clayton Kershaw ends up not starting, and I think in all likelihood he probably doesn't, then you'll see a pretty big shift in ownership from a lot of these players, because we have Kershaw getting 36% right now. I'm almost tempted to just ask these guys to put Grove in the ownership projections. Right. But anyway, Domingo Germán, Tyler Wells. What do you want to do with both of these guys today? Neither of them, it's not like the perfect matchup for either of them. I don't know if it's something that you completely shy away from on a 6-game slate either, but Tyler Wells has been pretty solid. And just from a strikeout perspective, you're getting a pretty decent strikeout rate. He's pitching relatively deep into games as well. He's been pretty good.
Yeah, he has been good. I was talking about him on Twitter with somebody the other day. The only real flaw he's had this year is that he gives up a lot of power, and it's kind of just like a command thing where his stuff is good. He's difficult to hit, but he just makes enough mistakes during the course of a game where he gives up a home run or two. 1.85 home runs per 9 innings so far. Obviously, that's risky in Yankee Stadium where power plays up, but this is still a watered down Yankees lineup. They're not very good without Aaron Judge. So certainly interested in him. He's also only $7,700, 26.5% strikeout percentage this year. And again, not a ton of power in the Yankees lineup to worry about. So Wells does look pretty good. Germán at 7,200, I don't have a problem with him. He's an inconsistent pitcher, but he does have talent. He is cheap at 7,200. My big concern is just that his biggest weakness this year has been left-handed power, and the Orioles are bringing a ton of it into Yankee Stadium, where we know it's one of the best parks in baseball for left-handed power. 220 expected ISO to lefties this year for Germán, only a 22.5% strikeout percentage. Very, very risky spot when you have to deal with Mullins, Rutschman, Santander, O'Hearn, Henderson, Hicks. Going back to Yankee Stadium should be a good time. But you have a lot of left-handed power here, so obviously it's a pretty scary spot. But he is cheap, and it is a 6-game slate, so certainly playable.
Do you think bats are viable in this spot today at Yankee Stadium, of course? So we know, depending on what side of the plate you're batting from, you could be in a pretty beneficial position.
Yeah, I really like the Orioles here for the reasons I was just saying, that I'm kind of scared of Germán. Clearly, hitting's hard. Germán's good enough. He can have big games, but there's just pretty much nothing but left-handed power in this lineup going up against Germán in Yankee Stadium. So I like that. I think the Yankee side is a little bit more difficult to get to. There is still power upside against Wells, but ideally, I think it's a team I probably get to more in the way of like 2-man stacks, 3-man stacks. Mix in some Bowers, Stanton, Torres, Rizzo, and just try and kind of get home runs there. You can 5-man stack. It's still an okay spot, but Wells overall has been good this year, like we said, and it's really just been home run issues with him. So if you're building one lineup, I would rather 5-man stack the O's and mini stack the Yankees. And
also, as good as Domingo Germán was last game, let's not act like he hasn't had some serious issues with power as well this season. Right. And now, like you said, at home against a bunch of lefties, things could go south. Coming off a perfect game, all of that is wonderful. But at the same time, 1.66 home runs per 9 allowed this season. If you look at him at home versus lefties, and I haven't done this yet, I'm curious to see what happens. At home versus lefties, yes, 7 home runs and 169 batters faced. He's given up a good amount of power as well. So it's definitely one of those spots that stands out. I agree with you. Could he go out there and toss another gem? Sure, it's possible. You never know what you're going to get from this guy, but he could also get blasted. And he has, he has definitely allowed some 9 home runs and 7 starts at home this year.
Yeah, Not that you're ever like paying attention to recent game logs, but if you look at his last 3 games, it gives you the perfect description of what Domingo Germán is. Negative in back-to-back starts, negative DraftKings points in back-to-back starts, follows it up with a perfect game. Like the range of outcomes is just massive here. And it does set up as a team that presents a difficult matchup at the very least.
Yeah, 4 home runs allowed against Seattle at home, and then a perfect game at Oakland the next start.
Right. And if you want to go the narrative route, I would think he probably doesn't cheat this game because he doesn't want his perfect game getting tarnished. So that's kind of been the thing with Germán is he cheating today or not?
Yes, of course. Yeah, we talked about that. Just a big cheater out there.
Well, no, we talked about the Blue Jays cheating.
I know. I'm joking. I know. Yeah, the Blue Jays at home, right? The Blue Jays cheating at home, I think, was the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, big Blue Jay pitching. Anything else from this game? You want to move it forward?
No, I think we can keep going.
All right, Atlanta and Cleveland. Let's get into this one a little bit here. For Atlanta, Bryce Elder, Gavin Williams making, I think, his 3rd start for Cleveland today. So Atlanta, big favorites, minus 155 on the road, 9-run total in this game. Is there any interest in number 1, Bryce Elder, and then Gavin Williams getting 5% because he's cheap? But I mean, what a brutal spot to have to pitch. I know, the park is, whatever, I guess it's kind of neutral here, but it's a horrible matchup for Gavin Williams making his 3rd or 4th start or whatever against this Atlanta offense.
Yeah, I mean, the price tag is nice at 6,300. He does have strikeout upside. He's a good pitching prospect, not a top prospect, but does look solid. But like you said, just brutal matchup against Atlanta. I don't know if you saw it. This team has 8 All-Stars.
What?
Their Instagram account put out a picture, celebrating their All-Stars. It just looks like a team picture.
How many of them are hitters?
Arcia, Acuna, Olsen, Murphy. I know all made it. I'm not sure if Riley made it.
Because Strider's in there. So
Strider's there, Elder's there. I assume Riley made it.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, Albies, not Riley.
It was out. So they have six.
Oh wait, no, Albies and Riley. Yeah. Yeah. No. So six hitters and 2 pitchers.
6. So
5 of them were starting.
66% of their starting lineup made the All-Star game.
Yes.
What?
Acuna, Murphy, Arcia are all starting. So 3 of them are starting. Sorry, and
that's
then
stupid.
3 more made it.
Yeah. So needless to say, Gavin Williams is good. Like you said, a good younger player with some strikeout upside. Really great start last time out. I don't want to overlook that. He went 7 1-hit innings with 6 Ks against Kansas City. But this is a different beast. This is a different animal right here. He's really cheap. Do you think you'll have any of him?
In 150 lineups, probably, just because it's a 6-game slate and a strikeout upside. But it's certainly nothing you're going to feel good about at all. And Mike Ostry said the Rangers have a bunch too. Yeah, 4 of the 5 starting spots in the American League infield are Texas Rangers.
That just sucks for anybody for other teams. If you're
the crazy thing is, it's all deserved. Like
I'm not saying it isn't.
No, I know, but like you see it a lot of times where it's like, the Yankees have a million guys starting because they're the Yankees and people voted for them.
Right.
But like,
I prefer it this way. Like if you deserve to be there and it's just like, these are the best players out there, let them. Plus you'll see like 2 plate appearances tops and then they'll be out anyway. So it doesn't
like I wanted to get mad that Jonah Heim got the catching nod over Rutschman. And then I looked at their numbers and I'm like, yeah, he deserves it.
Yeah. Bryce Elder, very good, but also not the highest upside pitcher. Only a 20% K rate on the season, really league average in that respect. Like he's a pretty extreme ground ball pitcher, doesn't allow a lot of hard contact, but he also pitches to contact.
I don't understand why he's only getting 2% ownership. I do understand the flaws with him from a DFS standpoint, that he's only striking out 20.5% of hitters, but he does have a 3.88 xFIP. His salary dropped to $8,100 on DraftKings, which is the big thing for me. We had been seeing prices on him, at 9,300, 9,400, where clearly you were paying for his ability to limit runs more so than his ability to actually score DraftKings points. Here you have a tough strikeout matchup, not a great strikeout pitcher. I get all of that, but when you compare him to some other pitchers in his price range, I like Tyler Wells. I don't think Tyler Wells should be 7 times or 8 times as popular as Elder. I don't think Erman should be 6 times as popular, even though he's $900 less expensive. So it does strike me as a spot where in tournaments, I probably like the idea of getting a little bit more of him. But again, it's not a good strikeout spot, both in terms of the pitcher and the matchup.
How about bats on either side? Like, I mean, Atlanta's one of those spots where we could say good things about Gavin Williams, you know, and the fact that he's a good young pitcher. But once again, this, you know what? This is actually the same point that you made. When was this the other day? We were talking about it was a young pitcher. You don't have to remember who specifically it was. And I was like, yeah, he's pitched pretty well. And you go, he has, but it's Atlanta. And I really don't care. And I don't think that he's, you know, profiles or projects to be a great pitcher going forward. And they lit his ass up early on. I forget who it was, but
yeah, I don't remember who it was, but I remember what you're talking about. And I mean, that's what it is. Like Gavin Williams is a top 100 prospect. He's got good stuff, struck out a bunch of dudes at AAA. He projects to be fine, but being an average, let's call him an average major league pitcher at this point in his career, going up against literally an all-star team. The Braves look really good. And while there's not a lot of bottom end pitching to get to today to afford the Braves, pitcher pricing just isn't that tight. You have an $8,600 Blake Snell pulling 42% ownership, but clearly he's inexpensive. Brian Wu with $6,600 facing a watered down San Francisco team in San Francisco. He's getting 20% ownership. But like, if you take those two guys, you're spending around $15K on pitching. You're getting two of the best strikeout pitchers on the slate. So it's not going to be difficult to get the Braves into lineups. It actually makes me surprised they're not projected for more ownership than they are. Right now, we only have them with 8% aggregate ownership, which is like 5th highest. Or no, sorry. It is 4th lowest on the slate. The only teams projected for less aggregate ownership are San Francisco against Wu, Seattle against Webb, and the Angels against Snell. They're first in top stack percentage. I just don't think they're that difficult to get to.
You know who it was? It was Brian Hoeing.
Oh, yeah, that's who it was. But
yeah.
Like with Hoeing, I don't even think he's likely to be good. He had just been good so far this year.
Right. Gavin Williams could actually be good.
Right.
Unlikely today, though. I don't know. From an ownership perspective, and you talked about it, but right now, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, what? Atlanta down there is just, I was reading chat and I was trying to think of his name. So forgive me if you've mentioned this already. Is this low ownership specifically just a distinct lack of value in these bats with their prices?
I mean, they're expensive, but I don't think it matters that much.
And there's also, I mean, as far as pitching goes, unless if you're going to Joe Ryan against Kansas City, which makes sense, it totally makes sense. You're going to be you're probably going to be playing a SP2 that's not that expensive anyway. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. No, like a minute ago while you weren't listening, I was saying how
I told you I wasn't listening, and I already asked for your forgiveness in the event that I repeat something that you said.
I
least I was proactive.
I didn't hear you say that.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I mean the point I made was that you can spend around $15K on salary and get two of the best strikeout pitchers on the slate, and Snell and Wu.
Right. All right. Let's talk about well, no Cleveland bats for you. Anything here?
Not really. I mean, I have been getting to them a decent amount. They did come through for me yesterday, but not a good spot against Elder. Not a good offense in general. 143 expected ISO to lefties for Elder. 117 to righties. He's been very good at limiting power. You know, if you're getting to Jose Ramirez, obviously that's fine. Josh Naylor, Josh Bell, but not a particularly appealing stack. Right now, we have them 3rd from the bottom in top stack percentage. They are projected to go a little bit overowned. I assume that is mostly just ownership coming into Jose Ramirez.
Red Skittles, is Taco Bell breakfast salsa a top 5 fast food condiment of all time? I don't know. I mean, Taco Bell breakfast sounds like garbage, honestly.
So Taco Bell is like the only fast food that I'll eat. But
really?
Yeah. But I've also never had their breakfast, I don't think.
I don't know, dude. Give me Polynesian sauce from Chick-fil-A.
Sorry, I'll eat Chick-fil-A too.
If I'm talking like condiments across the board, Wendy's is the honey mustard's the go-to. McDonald's has the sweet and sour sauce that's pretty delicious. If I ever get an Egg McMuffin from there, I go sweet and sour sauce. And I must be the only person on earth that does that because they don't understand what I'm asking for when I order it for. Like they give me sweet and low, and I didn't order a coffee.
Right.
Yeah, they do all the time. Like they have no idea what's going on. Pretty good though. Maybe I'll try Taco Bell breakfast one day.
I don't know anything about fast food condiments because the only time I ever eat fast food is if I'm driving, and I don't want to end up wearing like Polynesian sauce, so I just go without it.
Yeah, I'm a condiment guy. Gotta have it. Kansas City, Minnesota. All right. Let's talk about it. Kansas City, Austin Cox, Minnesota, Joe Ryan. Ryan getting a lot of ownership right now at $10,000. Understandable. Pretty good spot here against the Kansas City Royals. We could probably, let's start with him here because I can't imagine you're going to have a ton to say about Austin Cox. But last game out against Atlanta, Ryan got blown up. No surprise there. He had previously come off of a complete game shutout with 9 Ks against Boston. So, like we said, Atlanta will just run through opposing pitchers. What do you make of Ryan today against this Royal squad?
He looks really good, and it's easy to see how you can get to him as well because there's, you could pair him with Brian Wu and you're still spending like 16.6 at pitcher. You can pair him with Snell and you're still at 18.6, which leaves you around 4K for bats. But also you have a team like Minnesota that's really, really cheap across the board. So there's value bats, there's value SP2s. It's not going to be that difficult to get to Ryan here. The hitting conditions are favorable for pitchers, it looks like. Wind's blowing out, hot, humid, all of that. But it's still a below average KC lineup. It's a very good pitcher in Ryan. He's struck out 27.3% of hitters this year, only walking about 4%, 3.7 xFIP. The only negative really is the weather.
You see how many home runs Ryan allowed last game?
I remember it was a lot, I think.
5.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Oof.
Who was it against?
5 home runs.
Was it against Atlanta?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was against the Braves.
Yeah.
No surprise there. How much?
Yeah, so I was looking at his numbers just now, and he's allowed 1.2 home runs per 9 this year. I was like, damn, I didn't realize it was that high. But it probably wasn't last time I talked to him.
It's probably like 0.9.
Right.
I wonder. I'm going to look that up, as a matter of fact, while you talk about Austin Cox and, of course, any bats that you want to get to from either side of this game. Go for it.
Yeah, this dude sucks. He had put together a decent stretch or a good stretch as a reliever. I think he retired like 39 straight hitters or something. The only reason I know that is Kansas City's Twitter account tweeted it, and somebody tagged me before his previous start and asked if he was any good. And that person had also tagged somebody else who replied that he reminds him of a young Andy Pettit. I looked and said, no, this guy's awful. And then he got absolutely destroyed. He's not a pitching prospect at all. He's 26 years old. Fangraphs has him as Kansas City's number 32 prospect. He's not any good. AAA this year, 10 games, 8 games started, struck out 20% of hitters, 6.8 FIP. Now they have him in the starting rotation. Minnesota's cheap. They have power. It's good hitting weather. We have them tied with Atlanta in top stack percentage at 14%. We have them with a 29% chance of being the top value team. They are projected to be the highest owned team at 15%, but that's not even really problematic. If you look at the top stacks tool and you sort by stack score, we have Minnesota at 17.9. The next highest is Pittsburgh at 10.9. And that one obviously is different. It's just their value percentage pulling them up because they're so cheap. But as of now, they're facing Kershaw. So it's not the same type of spot. Minnesota just very clearly, all things considered, looks like the top stack to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like you said, the top stack tool clearly bears that out with 14% top stack. Wow, 29% top value score as well. All right, you ready for this? Before Joe Ryan's last start on the season, so he had made, let's see here, he has made what? 16 starts. So through 15 starts, Adam, 0.77 home runs per 9.
And then the Braves.
0.77 home runs per 9 on the season through 15 starts. One game skewed that to 1.21. One start in 3 innings.
Yeah, that's insane.
Bizarre.
And from a broader standpoint, this is a reason where, like when we do these shows, we're always, just kind of reciting numbers and stuff, trying to put context to the projections. But this is a reason why you can't just look at some of these numbers and, be like, oh, this guy's having a good year or bad year, good at this, bad at that. Like you're missing the context of how that played out. And, in Ryan's case, giving up a bunch of home runs. I know I brought it up with Verlander recently where like his strikeout numbers are way down because he's just had a stretch of really tough strikeout matchups. So it's why, again, you should be, trusting projections more than, oh, well, this guy's given up 1.2 home runs per nine.
For sure. And that's why, like, there's certain things where you hear someone be like, well, if you just remove this would have happened. And you're like, well, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. But in baseball, you can go, hey, maybe we should be a little bit cautious with the fact that through 15 starts, this guy allowed no power. And then one start, he just got blown up against a really good offense.
Right. It's why projection models look back at, they pull previous year's data and all of that as well. It's not just saying, oh, well, he did this yesterday, so he's going to do it again today.
Any other bats you want to talk about here?
No, not in particular. If you were looking to Kansas City for a home run or two against Ryan, top of the order is fine. Prado, Witt, Perez, Melendez. I'm always okay getting to those guys, especially with it being a shorter slate. But Correa, Buxton in particular look great against Cox. If they have Jose Miranda back up, that's going to be a decent spot to get to. So certainly prefer the Minnesota side.
Hey, if you guys are playing on pick'em sites or you haven't yet, I don't know why you wouldn't be because they're a ton of fun, especially in non-legal betting states. Drafters right now, first match deposit bonus, $100 up to 100% up to $100, free money in your pocket. You deposit 20, you get 40, or you deposit 50, you get 100. Deposit 100, the max, you get another 100 immediately. And a couple cool things to consider here. One, they have the pick'em format where you can up to 100x your entry. Always take advantage of promos and bonuses when you can, because you might be on Prize Picks and that's cool, but there's going to be days where like Drafters has free squares, where Drafters has crazy pick'em promos, where they have crazy discounts, and maybe Underdog and Prize Picks don't. Plus, you're getting the free money when you sign up. I look at it seriously from a state where, I sports bet. I bet on sports in Pennsylvania where I can, and I sign up on as many books as possible for two different reasons. One, you want to get as many bonuses as possible. You want to get as many of the, no sweat first bets, as many match deposits as you can. You want to capitalize on that, maximize everything, and make your stretch your dollar as far as it can go. But two, if there's a certain bet that looks good in one place and doesn't look good in another place, I'm not going to bet it in the place that looks bad just because it's the only book I'm at. I want to give myself as many resources and as many outs possible to make sure that I'm always getting the best plus EV situation that I can. You should treat pick'em contests and formats the exact same way. You should always be taking advantage of the best numbers, of the best free squares, of the best values, the best promotions. And if you're not on Drafters yet, many of you probably are. Many of you probably don't know about it yet. Here it is. First match deposit bonus, 100% up to $100. Link is in the description and in chat, by the way. Click that. It'll take you there. You get all of that. Check out their pick'em contest. Like I said, you can up to 100x, throw in 8 different legs into these cards. And Adam, they also have the best ball contest as well. I noticed they're doing something too. I don't know if you saw this, where it's like an Iron Man's type streak thing, where on Drafters, if you were to draft a contest for like 5 straight days, you get a free entry into another one. If you were to draft for 14 straight days, you get 3 or whatever. You were to draft a lineup for 30 straight days, I think you get like 5 entries into the $20. So it's $100 bonus just for drafting teams, which is a nice little incentive this early in the summer.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I like it. Yeah. And I know you've said you like the format on Drafters too. It's kind of a unique format that you've been drafting. It's probably softer than Underdog. I still believe that.
I think everything best ball wise is softer than Underdog, if that's the bar, but it's also just it's a different format, which is nice because like all of the best ball content is geared toward Underdog. And so you get either people just, not as many sharp players playing on Drafters, or people misapplying what the content says about Underdog to Drafters. And it's a totally different format. You don't have playoffs. It's cumulative. If you score the most points through week 17, you win. So you don't have to worry about week 17 game stacking or not game stacking, or all the stuff that kind of goes into a playoff format. So different strategies. And yeah, I like it. drafted. I don't remember how many teams I had drafted last year, but I didn't max it out. I just didn't have time. But it definitely was one of the sites that I was like, going into this year, I'm going to make sure I do get all of my drafts in because I really like the format and I thought it was very beatable.
Start doing it now too, because you're gonna get those free tickets, which is solid.
Yeah, they're next up on my list. So like I've been trying to do because I always have the issue. I really enjoy drafting, so I have the issue where like I'll start early. Like I think I started like as soon as contests started getting released. But then because I like it, I'll be like, shit, I'm at like 50 drafts and we're in the beginning of July. Like I don't want to be here. So I've been trying to like, do 20 to 30 on every site and then like loop back around. And so Drafters is my next site up to just get like, I think they have the $20 and like a $3. So
they have.
I'll be drafting there for a while.
Yeah, they have the $20, which is a big one, $2 million prize pool. The $3 million or the $3 is $200,000 prize pool too. So a lot of good stuff. Check it out. Link in the description and in chat. Get your deposit bonus, man. Take advantage of that free money. If you wanted to throw drafts in, you put $100 in instead of 5. Now you've got 10 drafts that you can do. So link in the description and in chat if you want to sign up over at Drafters. All right, let's keep this one rolling here. I think we covered everything. LA and San Diego. Jaime Barria and I think Blake Snell. Earlier it was to be determined, but I don't know why it wouldn't be Blake Snell. I'm just assuming it is. So it was still TBD on the official site, but it's gotta be Blake Snell. They had a lineup for it too. So 8-run total. Also San Diego, big favorites against LA. What do you want to do with Snell today? So, right now we have him at 41.5% ownership, $8,600 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I don't know why his price is where it is. One, he should just be more expensive than that anyway, but especially on a 6-game slate. So he just stands out. There's risk as far as the Angels have plenty of power in their lineup, but the game is in San Diego, which is nice. It's a park downgrade for the Angels bats. Good pitcher's park, very good pitcher in Snell. Got off to a slow start this year, but he's back to doing what he normally does. He's up to a 31.5% K percentage for the year, 11.5% walk percentage. That's always been his weakness. That's not going anywhere. But 3.48 xFIP, just a really good pitcher at a price tag that, in the context of this slate, is probably $2,000 less expensive than it should be. It's baseball. Things can go wrong. It is still a dangerous matchup. Anytime you're facing Trout and Ohtani, it's going to be a little bit concerning. And then you throw in, Taylor Ward, Rendon, Renfroe. But overall, looks really good, and he looks like the best pitcher on the slate.
Yeah, I would say so too. The strikeout up. What did you say his K rate was?
31.5%, and that's with a terrible start to the season.
Right, just insane strikeout stuff for Blake's. Now the price point does not make sense right now, at all. So that's just going to be one that we end up playing, and for obvious reasons. On the other side of this one, Jaime Barria right now getting 1% ownership, 6.8% top 2 probability in the top pitchers tool. So that's going to happen. You're going to have something on a 6-game slate, but and he's cheap at 5,500, but doesn't look that great across the board outside of having some positive leverage.
Yeah, it's talking about Barria, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you have to pay down for a pitcher for some reason, whatever, there's not really good pay down options below Brian Wu. Williams is facing Atlanta. He would be the most talented. Barria's here, and then you have Austin Cox, who sucks. But I don't think you're really going to need to because of the price tag on Wu, because Herman and Wells are sub 8K, because Snell is only 8,600. You're just going to not need that price range very much.
Would you say I'm balder than Jonathan? I think people assume I'm bald though because I always wear a hat. So like people don't know what's going on under here.
Yeah,
but
you don't usually wear fitteds though, so it's obvious you're not bald.
No, I should say like thinning. You know what I mean? Because if I put the hat on, you can see the hair here. But you're right. I don't wear bald people. Bald people are big on the fitteds. You're right.
Yeah.
Bald people with the snapbacks. It's always an interesting look, like the backward snapback.
Yeah.
But I guess you would rock the snapback though, where you would like push your hair down for a while. Like you would just put it over your head.
Yeah, depends what like hair length it is.
Yeah. But no, still have some hair. Still had some hair. Who knows? Maybe I spotted a few grays though recently.
Yeah, I don't have those that I'm aware of, but I definitely got the just starting to thin with stuff.
Just like Rogue though, or my like the beard hair down here. I already have a patchy beard, but like starting to get a few whites in there.
Yeah.
You have any of those yet? No lights?
Not no. So like kind of, but I think it's just like they've always been there. Like it's just more a
Yeah.
product of like growing a shitty like mustache than anything.
When I turned 35 is when I started notice they started to pop up. So you got a couple of
Yeah.
years.
Dude, I still remember being out with one of my best friends when we were probably like still in college, and it'd be like, dude, I found like, look at my beard, like I have gray hair in it. Yeah, that sucks.
Dude, I had friends going bald at like 19.
Yeah,
Just like legit, just receding. Every day you see them, you're like, oh, it's gotten worse.
right.
Yeah, it's crazy. You ever spot any like ear hairs in here, like on the rim of the ear?
I don't think
No,
so.
you've never
No,
gotten any of those yet either.
I don't think so.
Lucky guy, I guess. All
Or I'm
right,
just walking around with them and completely oblivious.
yeah, could be. I noticed those a few years ago. I'm not talking about like the old man bushels that are coming out of the like actual ear canal. I'm
Yeah,
talking about like just on the actual, like above the lobe.
yeah. I don't think I've ever had to like
Damn.
manscape my ears.
All right. Are you a hairy chest guy?
No, I'm actually still convinced I'm gonna hit a growth spurt and I haven't hit puberty.
All right, wait, hold on. Hold on, because this is the best. Me neither, by the way. Me neither. Got pretty smooth. Lucky in that respect. What about the back?
No,
Okay. Would you shave your back if it was hairy?
I don't think I'm flexible enough to do that.
Would you have it? I would honestly, I would have my back like chest, whatever. Whatever. If I had the hairy back, like just coming out through the collar of my shirt,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm wax. I'm getting the
Right, yeah,
back.
you can't have that.
Right? You agree? I get the whole thing like that. You can't wax. You can't. If my back looked like that and I'm going to the beach or something, I don't care. It's gone, dude.
Oh
You
yeah,
can't keep
yeah,
it.
yeah.
All right. Where are we at? Oh, bats. San Diego and LA. Do you like bats against Berea today?
Somewhat. He's decent, nothing special. Park is bad for hitting, but the Padres clearly have tons of power, so that's nice. So far this year, 182 expected ISO to lefties for Berea, 156 to righties. Always going to be happy to play Fernando Tatis. Always going to be happy to get to Soto and Machado, Bogarts, Cronenworth. I mean, it's a good lineup, and it is only a 6-game slate, so lower opportunity cost as well. We have them with an 8% chance of being the top stack, which is fifth, about 10% aggregate ownership. Most of that I would expect is just going to Tatis. So as a full stack, probably owned about correctly.
Any other thoughts on bats for LA against Snell? Like, I mean, just some maybe righty power or something?
Yeah, I'll say it's a small enough slate that I don't hate the idea of getting to some Angels. They're only projected for 2% ownership as a stack. There's clearly no shortage of upside. It's just a matter of they're facing a really good pitcher. But we know Snell will put guys on base, and you typically have that one inning where, if you rostered him and you're watching the game, you're holding your breath because it's like, oh, Snell just walked the bases loaded and there's one out. Is he going to get a strikeout or is he going to give up like a seeing eye signal and be screwed? If they take advantage, he walks a couple guys, they hit a 3-run homer, you're in a really good spot. So I don't hate the idea of getting to some Angel stacks and just hoping variance works in your favor.
Do you make anything of the fact that this year he's at a lot more expected power to lefties, but that's never been the case in the past?
Not really.
Me neither. I don't think you can make much of that at all.
Yeah, and the only thing I would say about it is like even more reason not to shy away from Ohtani. But if you're avoiding Ohtani just because it's a lefty-lefty matchup, you probably should just find a different game anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got 2 games to go here. Let's talk about Seattle and San Francisco. Brian Wu once again at a discounted price. Where's it? Was he at $6,600, 17.6% ownership, 19% top 2 pitcher probability in our top pitchers tool. We can get to the top stacks tool in a minute and dive into that. But let's talk about this game a little bit here, Adam. We've got Logan Webb getting 26%, Wu getting 18%. So this is certainly one that will be, you'll see a decent amount of ownership going to both sides of this one on the mound.
Yeah, both pitchers here are pretty good. You have a park that limits power as well. It's pretty close to neutral in terms of run scoring, but for power, it really suppresses it. You have Webb coming in with where is he? He's not listed on FanGraphs for some reason. Oh yeah, he is. I'm just blind. 24% strikeout percentage. 3.07 xFIP, walking a little below 5% of hitters. So you've seen his strikeout numbers come up a little bit this year. He's got a good strikeout matchup. Seattle's active roster has about a 25% K percentage against right-handed pitching this year, middle of the pack with a 100 WRC plus. So there is plenty of upside here for Webb. He's 9,200, so you're getting a discount off Joe Ryan as well, which is nice. Also, if Kershaw ends up being scratched, we have 36% ownership going into Kershaw right now. That's probably going to get redistributed pretty heavily to Ryan, Snell, and Logan Webb. So you will see that ownership number come up if that's the case. But he looks good. And then on the other side for Brian Wu, only 6,600 for a guy with very good strikeout upside. Put up big strikeout numbers in the minors this year. So far in the majors, striking out 33% of hitters as well. Clearly, you don't expect that to continue, but he does project to be an above average strikeout pitcher at only 6,600. He's had issues with left-handed power this year so far. Again, limited sample, only 155 pitches thrown to lefties, but much better strikeout numbers to righties. 232 expected ISO to lefties, 366 expected WOBA. It's not that it's a safe spot, but there are strikeouts in the Giants lineup. It does hurt left-handed power, and most importantly, he's still only $6,600.
Right. We've said it a lot with this San Francisco team. They have power. It's a good offense, but they also strike out quite a bit. And it's a good park. So yeah, it makes $6,600 is a tough one for me to wrap my head around with this guy, because like, has he been elite? No, but you mentioned it. He has good strikeout stuff. And the matchup from a strikeout perspective isn't terrible. It's not as much that he's 6,600. It's the fact that every single day you're seeing some of these guys that are, worse than this at higher price points. I will say though, with this slate, it seems like pretty much everyone's a little underpriced. Usually it feels the opposite.
Yeah, and that's why you're only seeing the 20% ownership to Wu. You're going to have a lot of lineups that you build where it's just like, okay, I could play Wu, or I could play Snell, or I could play Webb, and not have to change too much. So that is going to pull some of the ownership away. If this were a slate where like Snell were 10-6 like he should be, and Webb were 10K, and Wells were 8,700, then you would see more ownership going to Wu, because he would be the guy that you kind of have to go to pull everything together. But because hitter pricing is soft on a lot of teams, and because pitcher pricing is soft, a lot of times you're just going to be able to say, like, okay, well, I'm going to play Blake Snell and Logan Webb, and that's good.
Do you have any interest in bats here? Not exactly the most favorable hitting environment today.
Yeah, it's tough to get behind the bats. I think I'd be most interested in the Giants. Wu is fresh out of Double-A ball, essentially. He has had big issues, again, in a very limited sample with lefties. And so looking to, Peterson, Wade, Conforto, Sable, Bailey is pretty appealing. The park does hurt power, but with it being a 6-game slate, that's not as big a deal because the opportunity cost is lower. You don't have a Coors game. You don't even have a bunch of good hitters parks. You have New York, and that's it. The Dodgers is fine, but it's not like you have a game in Cincy, a game in Coors. The fact that this game's in San Francisco is sort of canceled out by the fact that most other games aren't in particularly appealing spots either.
Let's get to the last game here. Two things. One, we're 21 likes away from 100 here on the Monday Morning Strategy Show, with 300 plus people watching with us today. So if you are one of those 21 people who could, do something good this morning for the sake of humanity and atone for your sins here on the youtube.com MLB Strategy Show presented by Drafters, be one of those 21 people to get us there. It's easy. We can make it happen. And I appreciate you guys in advance, because I feel confident that you will get the job done. Also, shout out to a couple more lineup generator winners. Hey, I told you guys, I was like, man, I'm going to retire the one from the week before with the 10K and the 50K wins. But the day that I do that and decide that, we'll retire those, Derby Status comes in with a $3,500 win using the lineup generator, $2,500, and then another $1,000. Second day playing DFS, and I ship the one, what is that? The mini max for $2,500. Play second in the $3 MLB 20K moonshot for $1,000. All thanks to Stochastic and the guys there, and great insight, and the MLB lineup generator. Another one too. I always tell you guys, like with the lineup generator, where you can set your stack type, you can lock players in, you can swap players, you can save your lineups, And then essentially you get the lineups, you can discard them, the ones that you don't like, save the ones you like, upload them to CSV, and say like you wanted to run all stack types or 4-4s or 5-man stacks or 5-3s. You can select all of that and run them. You can see your optimal projection. You can see how chalky or contrarian it is across the board, just a million different ways to use this thing. And if you're wondering how it works, we're simulating thousands and thousands of lineups behind the scenes, throwing out all the ones that don't project well, not both from just from a fantasy points perspective, but from an ownership perspective as well. And we're feeding you the good ones. And I always say it's $4.48 for the first week. What do you have to lose? You don't need to have a huge win to just pay it off and more. And if you don't like it, you're down less than $4.48 for the week. We had Dora the Explorer with a $30 and a $16 win credited to the lineup generator. You go, all right, that's not a lot of money, right? Yeah, but what does it matter? Dude spent $4.48, $46 there, and he's using it on low stakes, which is awesome. That's why I always say, like, you want to use it on higher stakes or you want to use it on lower stakes. If you're playing in the solo shot or the nickel or the quarter, tools like this are going to take you really far in these lower stakes contests where other people aren't using them. So for less than $4.50 a week, what do you have to lose, man? If you're playing $2 a day, even, right? That's $14 a week. This is $4.48. Check it out. And if you don't like it, you're down less than $4.50, but I think you will. And we've seen some really nice screenshots recently. A shout out to all of you guys using the lineup generator and representing that stochastic avatar. Link in the description and chat if you want to check it out. And as always, my DMs are open on Twitter. Hit me up. Dude, I dropped like 35 followers in a day the other day and I didn't even tweet. I'm assuming they're just like eradicating more and more bots.
Yeah, probably. Normally when I lose 35, it's because I did tweet.
That's what me too. Right. So I'm like, did I say something? No, I gained like 30 the day before and dropped 35 the following day. So I don't know how often you get this because you don't talk a ton about sports betting, but just these bot tweets.
Every single time I tweet.
Dude, it's fucking horrible, man. And I don't block people. I don't like to give them the satisfaction of being blocked.
I don't block real people.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah. I block, if you went into my block list, it's just all like I'll mute people sometimes.
Yeah. I love muting. Like I love the idea that people are just like angrily tweeting at me and then I don't
into the void. It's the best. It's the best. But I don't block them because I don't want them to have that satisfaction.
Right, 100%.
My whole block list is just these bots. It's got to be 1,000 of them by now.
Yeah, and I mean, luckily now they do just go to the like hidden section, but yeah, it sucks. I was joking about it with DC the other day on Twitter, like because he was complaining about the same thing, and I was saying like I always get kind of excited because like I'll tweet something that I think is entertaining, and I'll get like an immediate response. I'm like, oh, good, somebody's already talking shit to me, and then it's just like a sports betting bot.
Crazy. Jordan asks, can I email you my winning lineup to get in the Hall of Fame? I don't have Twitter. Dude, just set up a burner account. It's the rules. You download the stochastic avatar, stochastic.com/avatar. I'll help you out real quick with this, dude. And then you just leave it up there and forget you even have it, right? You don't need stochastic avatar. You download a stochastic.com/avatar. If you were rocking it already, because you got to use it wherever it is you're playing. And then just tweet your wins to us at Stochastic HOF. If you finish top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more, you're getting the free month of Stochastic Plus Platinum, $120 value, and you're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, which Jordan and I will be recording right after this. So that should be fun. But yeah, you can try emailing us support@stochastic.com, Jordan, and they might help you out. But I'm just going by what we do. So if just delete a burner account or create an account, tweet once. You don't have to look at it ever after that, but it helps. Anyway, yeah, do that, Jordan. And you can include me in it just to make sure it gets through at Loughy_D as well. Shit, follow me too. I need to build back some of those followers. All right, let's close this one out. Pittsburgh and the Dodgers. Should we just work under the assumption that it's Grove? I think we should.
Yeah, may as well because it seems really unlikely it's going to be Kershaw.
So let's just say Mitch Keller and Grove. For those of you that joined late, at the top of the show, Adam and I discussed this, that Kershaw might go on the IL. We have no idea. I don't believe there is a listed pitcher officially yet, but let's just work under that assumption. What do you want to do with Keller, or let's assume Grove's on the mound today against Pittsburgh?
Yes, I mean, really, really tough spot for Keller. In tournaments, like large field tournaments, it can make some sense just because He is.
Oh, Grove was recalled, Adam.
Okay, so it is.
Oh, no, it says never. I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought he was. Go ahead.
So 7.5% ownership coming into Keller. It makes some sense from just like an individual pivot standpoint. Blake Snell is clearly the better play, $200 less expensive. But if somebody gave you, 6-1 odds on Keller versus Snell, you would take it. So in individual lineups, if you just get to Keller instead of Snell, or just in general because he's 7% owned, that's fine. He's still a really good pitcher. But it is about as tough a matchup as you're going to get going up against the Dodgers. 27% strikeout percentage for Keller, 3.38 xFIP. Again, really, really good, but really tough matchup, whereas some of these other pitchers that are good also have better matchups. So purely a tournament play there. Assuming it's Grove, if you have to pay down, he probably is the best pay down option because, again, you have Austin Cox in a good strikeout matchup, but he's not any good. You have Jaime Barria in a tough spot. You have Gavin Williams in a brutal spot. $5,300 Grove going up against the Pirates, if you have to pay down, I think is probably the best spot to get to, assuming he is starting. But you probably also just won't need to get there because the actual good pitchers are so underpriced.
And Jerm said Grove's listed as the start on DraftKings. Yeah, I saw they made that switch, but it's not official yet. There's still nothing official up there yet. So right now, favorite two pitchers on the slate?
Snell and Webb.
Okay. Top two stacks right now. Is it Minnesota and
the Braves?
Okay.
I like the Orioles too.
Do you think it's worth looking over some pre-contest sims, given that we had Kershaw in that early run?
I mean, we can, if Jordan has them ready, we can do it. And
yeah, let's take a look with the knowledge that this will change once we get an official pitcher for the Dodgers. Pull it up. And by the way, we're at 100 likes. Shout out to you. I knew we'd get there. Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys. You're the best. Let's take a look at the MLB Sims tool. Yeah, this is a tool that's been massive lately. And it has been a lot of fun to look at the pre-contest sim going into this and seeing what type of simmed ROI we're getting on some of these players. So let me pin this for Jordan. Adam, you do the same so we can. What's that? All right, so that should probably take a second. All right, well, we can wait. But okay. How about this, Adam? I'll ask you a fun question here. So with the way this works, right, it's you're getting the simulated ROI. It's simulating the contest thousands of times. You would be in, by entry size. If you had to guess right now, what stacks do you think come up with the highest simmed ROI?
Wait, what?
What stacks right now do you think are going to look the best in this pre-contest tool before we're even done?
Oh, you mean what teams?
Yeah.
Just
based off the ownership that we currently have right now.
Yeah, I'm looking. Minnesota, Atlanta, Pittsburgh.
Okay. Stack ROI. Let's see. Atlanta, Minnesota. All right. Not bad, dude. Not bad. Atlanta, you're getting. That's crazy, though. So how many lineups did you run, Jordan? How many? 2,000? All right. 79 Braves lineups, Adam, out of the 2,000. But the highest simmed ROI and 5-man stacks.
Yeah, relatively tough to get to, but I still just don't think it's going to be that difficult either.
Jordan, go to lineups.
Yeah, Minnesota everywhere.
Wow. There's a Minnesota Atlanta down there, 5-2 Minnesota Atlanta. Scroll down a little bit. Let's see what the Baltimore, Minnesota 5-man, Minnesota 5. Wow. Dude, that's a lot of Minnesota today.
That is a ton of Minnesota.
Not that it doesn't make sense, but that's a lot. Go to player ROI, Jordan. And by the way, if you guys, the link's in the description for the MLB Sims tool. Listen, very powerful tool. There's no 50% off. There's no discounts on this, but for good reason. It's too valuable of a tool to be discounting right now to do free trials. Maybe in the future, but it's doubtful. But if you wanted to get it, the MLB Sims tool link is in the description and in chat. All of this stuff just massively valuable. So player ROI, Mitch Keller has the highest sim ROI.
It makes sense just because he's good and very low owned. So like he's the way with all that Minnesota that we're getting to, like he's one of the pieces that I'm sure is showing up in a lot of those lineups.
Also some bats though for Pittsburgh in this.
Yeah, we have them second in stack score because they're so cheap.
Yeah, that's true. Anything else stand out to you here? Just any other teams that we're looking at? Any other stacks?
Jordan, go to exposures and then 5-man stacks. Go select the 150 lineups first. So yeah, just quick select 150 and then do that. Stack exposures, top right. Yeah, that is so much Minnesota.
Wow.
Interesting that the Yankees and Baltimore are showing up next. The best hitters park on the slate. So that looks pretty good. What's unclick stack exposures? And then just sort by exposure. Yeah, Mitch Keller showing up 49%. So like that's a spot where if like it's obviously fine to play it that way. If you were using the tool, maybe you wanted to go through and like unselect the bottom Mitch Keller lineups and replace them with some non-Mitch Kellers if like 50% of the guy against the Dodgers feels a little extreme.
Yeah, that's a lot. Awesome. Yeah, that's the MLB Sims tool. You guys want to check it out. You know where to find it. But we do this. We try and do the pre-contest sim to get an idea of what we're looking at, kind of put a bow on every show here. Appreciate you watching. As always, hit that thumbs up before you go. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Remember, podcast. We're out there, baby. Come listen to us in podcast form if it's easier for you. Shout out to Jordan Klein for producing this one. Follow Adam at Ship My Money DFS. Be a Loughy_D, and we'll see you back here tomorrow, 4th of July. I don't know if we're going to do like an early deeper dive live before a lock, whatever we're going to do, maybe the night show. I don't know. We'll see how they structure these slates out, but stay tuned. We got deeper dive live before lock tonight. We'll run it back with a bunch of 4th of July content tomorrow for a huge MLB slate. Good luck tonight, guys, and we'll see you back here for the next one. Peace.